Hello, so glad to be here with you guys this evening and talk about children and how we can help them learn and grow. Children are children are movement. Children are curiosity, and children are noise. But mostly, children are amazing, completely amazing. So hopefully I can make this program work correctly. It'll be fun. Let's talk about movement. Movement, the definition of movement is a change or development. And then, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're moving. Sometimes movement is in their minds. You don't see it happening necessarily on the outside. And then we have curiosity, which is a strong desire to know or learn. This is why they stick their finger in light sockets and stuff like that. Okay. And then we have noise, which really is sounds. It's one of the ways children process information is through the sounds they make and the sounds they hear. I'm going to tell you a story of my oldest son, Joel, and he was he was that kid that nobody wanted in their class. We would sit in church in the pews at church, and he was the kid that broke the holder for the books off of the pew repeatedly, so often that when the noise got made, the bishop would go like this because he knew he would have to repair it again. Because Joel was that kid. He was curious and he never stopped moving, and he definitely liked to learn stuff. So, how do we help them? We help them with little tiny steps. All right, we're gonna go into how we help the children progress. Okay, we help them grow by identifying their strengths and weaknesses. So, some kids listen really well, some kids talk really well, some kids color really well. We identify what each child is good at. We help focus on that. Then we focus on strengthening their weaknesses. We want to encourage them to learn through play. Children do everything in a playing mode. And that's how they learn. They touch it, they feel it, they get into it. That is how children learn. And that's one of the things we need to do as teachers is to help them stay engaged in a learning mode. We need to understand that learning noises are not necessarily the same as just noise. Some noises are necessary in order to learn. So if you're shaking a rattle during music, that's a noise, but it's also music. And we all hear music differently, and sometimes children hear the repeated banging of the drum as music when all we hear is a headache forming. But that's just children, and that's part of our job. Our order and our environment, the arrangement of children in relation to their surroundings. So you want to have your environment conducive to play and learn and interaction. So let's look at the steps how we can do that. We're going to help them grow with just some little steps that'll help them along this path of expanding knowledge. We want to maintain a clean, organized, and safe environment. For the child who's super curious about sticking things in holes, we got socket protectors, we got curtain uppy hickeys, and we keep it safe, all right? Follow the state mandated guidelines. They're there because some curious child got hurt trying to figure something out, period. Number 2, we have access to learning toys, which are the tools of children. Now, you go into some schools and you'll see lots of building blocks and puzzles and coloring books and stuff like that. That's not necessarily how children learn. Those are things that they have to be taught how to do. You have to teach a child how to stack blocks. You have to teach a child how to color and hold a pencil. Those things come naturally if they're engaged in learning play, if they're using the tools in their environment. Those things will naturally happen. If you're stirring a pot when you play kitchen, you're going to use similar motions to handwriting. They're just incorporated together. Those toys are the children's tools for learning. Number 3, just because order is good does not mean that disorder is bad. Oftentimes, in order for children to learn, they get into the very bottom of the bucket, which means that everything that was in the bucket is now all over the room. And sometimes once they get to the bottom of the bucket, they get in the bucket, pull up the handles, and try to fly. All this is learning: gravity, conceptual reasoning, spatial relationships. Let them play. Now, ask them to help you pick up and establish order that way, but definitely let them play. Learning is the acquiring of knowledge through experience. With children, that means playing and interacting with their environment. 90% of a child's brain is developed by the age of 5. I'm going to tell you a story about Troy. This little boy, I had him when he was 3 years old for about a year. Sweet little kid. Always got hurt. Always got hurt. I couldn't figure out why he was getting hurt. Turns out Troy had an overwhelming desire to be first at everything. And he would throw caution to the wind in order to be first in line, in order to be the first one on the bus. And it wasn't until I discovered that that's what was happening that I was able to keep Troy safe. So we need to understand our children. We need to help them grow with the little steps. The little steps of order and environment. Children play to learn, and if they can use their 5 senses, which are taste and touch and sight and smell and sound, we're going to build strong neural connections. If you can incorporate all 5 of the senses into an activity that they're doing, it's going to build strong neural connections that are permanent instead of short-term ones. And that's very, very important when you're trying to help children learn those conceptual basics. And here is listen to teach. Sometimes we get so busy telling them what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it that we don't listen to them. And it was with Troy, it wasn't until I stopped and I listened to him and I paid attention to him that I noticed what he needed from me. And then I was able to help him and help him mature that desire or weakness into a strength and a cause. And he was no longer getting damaged, and he was accomplishing great things. So we have to listen. And periodically we have to wait. Some things take time. My Joel took lots of time to learn how to control all those movements and thoughts and activities in his head. But once he did, there was no stopping him. Children are individuals. They are learning new skills. They have absorbent minds. They learn who they are through how they play. And we then need to provide them with an environment that helps support them so that they can grow. Thank you.